What's up, everybody? This is Eat a Prophet here to do another video. And this video is going to be called My Message to Dana White. Francis Ngannou definitely has a shot against Tyson Fury. And I felt the need to make this video because I read an article that Dana White did. And man, I just couldn't believe what he said in the article. And I've heard him say it before. And I can't believe he's still going around repeating this, knowing he's in the middle of negotiations with Francis Ngannou. Yo, it makes no sense to me. Yo, I have nothing but admiration and respect for Dana White, but the things he's been saying lately, the things he said about Francis Ngannou and Tyson Fury, taking Jorge Masvidal outside against Colby Covington. He just said the other day that he think boxers make too much money. Yo, the last person need to be talking about anybody's salary is Dana White, keeping it real. He don't need to be talking about salaries at all. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what's going on with Dana. But anyway, in the interview, they asked him what he thought about the fight. And he said that he said they're fucking stupid talking about Tyson Fury and Francis Ngannou. And he said pursuing that fight is a waste of fucking time, energy, and money. No, time, effort, and money. And I just don't see, okay, I'm looking at the heavyweight division in the UFC, and I'm trying to figure out what fight do we have that's bigger than Francis Ngannou versus Tyson Fury. He doesn't. Now, let me also say this. I've been watching UFC since UFC 1. I have not missed one. I love UFC. That's why I do these videos. Francis Ngannou, I have never seen another man like him ever in the UFC. That man is a fucking specimen. I've never seen another fighter like Francis Ngannou. And I know he had a hiccup against Stipe, and he had a hiccup against Derek Lewis. But the level he's fighting on right now, there's not a heavyweight that can beat him. Dana White also alluded to the fact that Francis Ngannou wrestled Cyril Gane in their last fight. And I agree, that was a bad optic. That's a bad optic when you're talking about fighting a heavyweight boxing champion of the world. I really don't think he should have been wrestling in his last fight. I really think he should have knocked Cyril Gane out. And I really believe he could have knocked Cyril Gane out. And I feel the only reason he did wrestle Cyril Gane was so that he didn't have to knock him out, because I believe they're friends. And I don't think he wanted to knock him out. But I definitely believe he could have stopped that fight if he wanted to. You know what I'm saying? So, I just don't, I just don't know what to make of this. I don't know why Dana White is so against this fight. Now, I have made a video in the past where I talked about the UFC not being equipped to promote boxing matches. And I know a bunch of y'all are going to start talking about Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather. The thing with that is, Floyd Mayweather is the biggest boxing promoter in the history of boxing. So he promoted that fight. The UFC didn't have to promote that fight. The UFC has never, ever promoted a boxing match, even though Dana White was talking about, starting a boxing promotion. But it never came to fruition for whatever reason. But the UFC has never promoted a boxing match. So I don't know if that's the problem. But then I got to thinking, okay, ESPN owns the UFC. ESPN does have a boxing division. There is a division called ESPN Boxing, and ESPN has done pay-per-views on boxing. So I don't know why ESPN wouldn't intervene in this, or maybe that's the problem. I don't really know all the going-ons, of boxing promotion these days. I really haven't kept up with it, so I don't really know who promotes Tyson Fury. But I will say this: for this boxing match to really get the promotion that it deserves, I believe that it will be better if Francis Ngannou is the UFC heavyweight champion. I believe the UFC heavyweight champion versus the boxing heavyweight champion is a more marketable fight. Now, with that said, I still believe that Tyson Fury could fight Francis Ngannou. And let me say this, because I keep forgetting to get to this point. I believe that Francis Ngannou could beat Tyson Fury. Understand that the heavyweight boxing division is trash. To say that Tyson Fury is the best heavyweight boxer ever is bullshit. That's a fucking lie. The best heavyweight boxer ever is more than likely Vitaly Klitschko, or maybe Lennox Lewis. I would say it's between one of those two. It's not Tyson Fury. He beat Dylan White. I mean, who the fuck is Dylan White? And he beat Deontay Wilder. Now, I do have respect for Deontay Wilder in the sense that his stamina, his endurance, his toughness, his strength are all top notch. His boxing skill is below subpar. He has like no fucking boxing skill at all. Zero boxing skill. He just happens to have all those other traits that worked out for him. But when he finally ran into somebody as big and strong and with more skill, you see what ended up happening. So, you know, in terms of skill, yeah, he has none at all. So I'm not really sold on, you know, Tyson Fury being the best heavyweight boxer of all time or even being close to it. I mean, I still put Muhammad Ali, Mike Tyson, a whole bunch of people above him. Evander Holyfield, you know, a lot of people above him. You know, George Foreman, Larry Holmes, you know, there's a bunch. But anyway, regardless, I think Francis Ngannou is unlike any other fighter that Tyson Fury has ever fought. Francis Ngannou is a fucking monster who hits hard as shit. And he has a lot more technique than Deontay Wilder has. Keep in mind, even though Francis Ngannou is a UFC fighter, and he did wrestle in his last fight, every fight prior to that, Francis Ngannou, he may throw a few leg kicks or whatnot, but he's a boxer. He's boxed his whole career. That's what he's done. That's what he's trained. So Francis Ngannou is not new to boxing at all. That's all he's done in the UFC. I honestly believe that Francis Ngannou will be the toughest test that Tyson Fury has ever faced in a boxing match. I believe Francis Ngannou is the only MMA fighter, the only UFC fighter who has a legitimate chance of beating a championship level boxer. He's the only UFC fighter. You know, fuck this Cameron Usman, Canelo Alvarez. Now you want to talk about some shit that makes no sense. That's the fight that makes no sense. Cameron Usman has no chance against Canelo Alvarez. None. Zero. No way he could beat Canelo Alvarez. No fucking way. He would get murdered. Whereas I believe the disparity is nowhere near as great between Francis Ngannou and Tyson Fury as it is between Canelo Alvarez and Cameron Usman. You know what I'm saying? Or any other boxer. I'm like Dana White in the sense that I'm not really for all these crossover fights because they're two different sports. And a boxer definitely will have the advantage in most cases in a boxing ring in the same way the UFC fighter will have the advantage in the octagon. They're two different sports. But I believe Francis Ngannou is the exception to the rule. I do want to see that fight. I hope they make the fucking fight happen. And I'm telling you, yo, Dana White is pissing me off shooting the shit down every chance he get. It makes no sense. Yo, he's starting to really, I don't know what the fuck is up with him. But I really hope, even if Ngannou has to leave the UFC, I hope they make that fight happen. Now understand this as well. If Ngannou wins that fight, if he beats Tyson Fury, he's not going to need the UFC anymore. Maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know. But if he was to win that fight, he's going to say bye to the UFC. That I'm sure. The UFC wouldn't be necessary at that point. So, you know, I don't know. But I will say, like I said, Francis Ngannou definitely, most definitely has a shot at beating Tyson Fury. I really think that would be a hell of a fight. That would, like I said, Tyson Fury ain't never fought nobody like Ngannou. And Ngannou has never probably fought anybody like Tyson Fury. So I think it would be a really good, interesting fight. I think they can really promote the shit out this fight. It's a true heavyweight contest. You know, I think they can promote this better than they promoted Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder. You know, I really wish that Francis Ngannou would have agreed to fight Deontay Wilder. I wish they would have fought, because I would have loved to have seen what Dana White could have said in that situation. Because Deontay Wilder definitely doesn't have any advantages over Francis Ngannou. Definitely not in boxing skill. I would have loved to have seen what he would have said in that situation. But anyway, y'all, man, I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. Y'all heard what I had to say. You know, I don't give a fuck what Dana White says. Francis Ngannou has a legitimate shot to beat Tyson Fury. Take it from somebody who watches boxing and MMA. Trust me on that one. Anyway, y'all, thank you for watching the video. I love y'all. You know, please like the video. Please subscribe to the channel. Share the video if you want to. And please leave your thoughts and comments. Everybody stay safe, stay strong, stay healthy. Peace.